Morning, Trainiacs. After a brutal weekend of training, it's a rest day. Also, after a brutal winter, I can actually get this outside. That's right, it got too cold to winter fat bike in the winter. After I go for this fun little tootle about, and before the season really gets going, we are going to talk about who the key pro triathletes are that I think you should be watching out for in 2019 that I think can make a big leap up into the upper echelon of pro racing. Got a solid 6 PSI to get in here. Missed this. 2 months off the fat bike. Who knew I could miss doing things outside? All right, let me go take off the 17 layers that I had to put on. We'll talk about I want to say it's six, maybe 7 pro triathletes that you should be watching out for in 2019. So all right, let's talk about the pros that I think you should be looking out for over the course of 2019. Now, these aren't pros that I would say are going to be like on the top of the podium in Kona or half Ironman Worlds. They are pros that I think are going to go from being like a B plus, A minus kind of pro to establishing themselves as being something to really watch out for, like a threat to Kona. They'd be like a really solid dark horse in Kona or a world championship, but it's not like I'm going and picking like Annie Haug, Sarah True, athletes that I think are on the tipping point of being dominant athletes. That's a better way to say it. My first pick is Braden Currie. Now, Braden Currie has been quite established over the last couple of years. He ended up placing 8th in half Ironman Worlds very quietly, 5th in Kona, again, fairly quietly. He was one of the only people to beat Javier Gomez, beating him on the run at Ironman Cannes last year. Just won Challenge Wainica, and he's still fairly young and really young in the sport of triathlon as far as it's concerned. Like, he came up as a multi-sport athlete doing adventure races and Xterras and things like that. World-class athlete there, and he really just took up triathlon around 2013, 14 as far as I can tell. So as far as like running years, cycling years, swimming years, he still has a long way that he can go, and being just 32, he's probably still got another 7 or 8 years of progress ahead of him. Pair that with all of the good results that he's already had, I think that he is a top podium contender in these world events. On the women's side, the first athlete that I think you should be paying attention to is Chelsea Sodoro. Now, she's a former professional runner who has just recently taken up triathlon. And I'm talking like just in the last basically 18 months, 2 years. She won one of the first races that she ever went into, like the first handful of races, which was an ITU race in Huatuco. And then she decided that she was going to specialize in longer distances. First race, didn't go so well. Second race she went into, she won half Ironman Indian Wells, 70.3 in fall of last year. And this was like no slouch of a race. She ran down Haley Chura and Carrie Lester running a 1:19.25. She's also paired up with Matt Dixon, who is probably the coach that has taken the most number of athletes from like being total beginner in triathlon, big background in other sports to top of the world. So he knows how to get athletes at that pinnacle. I think we should pay a lot of attention to Chelsea. This is kind of like a, yeah, Taren, we already know about him. I think we already know about him. A, because I talk about him a lot. B, because he did one of our master classes. C, because he's a pretty brash dude, very outspoken, Cam Wurf. But he hasn't really established himself as dominant at the end of the race. What he has done, however, is he's got himself into the front pack. He came out of the front pack swim group in Kona. We know that he is one of the best cyclists in the field. Now, he's been working a lot on his running lately. He ran a 250 or a sub 250 last year. I just talked to him recently, and he said that he has been putting in close to, I think, 60, 80 mile weeks, taking a big step back from swimming and cycling because he's got those established, and he's working really hard on his run. And if he can get that to be very consistent, kind of tip of the spear sort of speed, he has come off the bike in world record splits, like faster than some world record times. He just has to run at a world-class level. Next, on the female side, you might not know a lot about her, but she is making huge waves in the sport, particularly in Europe. She's got her own YouTube channel that I'll link to at the end of the video. Most of it's in German, which is why I don't watch a lot of the videos, but I met her in Lanzarote, and I gotta say that she might be one of Daniela Ryf's biggest competitors, and that's Laura Phillip. Laura Phillip just took up triathlon, really all of endurance sports, because she needed to commute to work, and all of a sudden she got competitive commuting to work by bike, realizing that she had a big talent in the sport. Since then, she has won 13 half Ironman races, and at her full Ironman debut last year, Ironman Barcelona, she set a new course record going 8:34:57 on a course that wasn't really that fast. The male pro winner went 8:05, so it's a fairly average course. Meanwhile, she's putting out like world record kind of times here, beating the next closest athlete in the field by 35 minutes. Now, the next athlete that I think could make some noise is a real young athlete that had a great season in 2018, and I think as long as he stays healthy and continues to progress, can do very well. Rudy Von Berg. I met him in Boulder. Good guy. He had just won Wildflower. He also won the European Half Ironman Championship. He won the South American Half Ironman Championship. He placed 10th in Half Ironman Worlds, and in talking to him after, he's got a real gritty attitude where I said, like, hey, good race, you got to be pumped about that. He's like, no, not at all. I could do so much better than that. I made mistakes that were just mental mistakes that probably cost me about 4 or 5 spots. Like, that's the mindset of a winner, that you place 10th in the world amongst some of the best at one of the most competitive races that there's ever been, and you're not happy with it. I like the fire, Rudy. And then the final athlete that I think that you should be paying attention to in 2019 is the woman that kept making me look like a goob in Triathlon Newsday because she kept winning a bunch of races and I couldn't pronounce her name. She got married, still has a name that I can't pronounce. Radka Kehlefeldt. Awful. She placed 5th in Half Ironman Worlds. She won the 2017 Asia Pacific Half Ironman Championship. She just won Half Ironman Geelong. She was a 2012 Olympian, so we know that she's got to have good run speed, good swim speed, and she's still fairly young, being just 34 years old. So take that speed that you've got from the ITU background, translate that up to longer distance, where still at 34 years old, you can make a lot of progress. Pair that with some amazing wins, top places in Half Ironman World Championships, she could be a podium contender at Worlds. So there you go, Trainiacs. There are 6 athletes that I think you should be paying attention to over the course of 2019. I think that they are poised to be potentially dominant athletes, podium contenders. Are they ready to step up, surprise people, maybe be on the top of the podium? That I'm not sure of, but I think that these are athletes that are set to do really well over the next few years. So a couple fun videos that you can watch are if you are in a German-speaking mood, but apparently they've got good English subtitles added now. Go check out Laura Phillip's channel. If you want to see the last pro coverage video that we did with Patrick Lange, it was a real hit. That's down here. And if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button below. I'm gonna say that those are the people you want to put some money on. Go place your bets, Trainiacs. Later.